Hey everyone. So another video with the chest mount from ground perspective. So on this mission, it's just we're flying one bag up to a site up on the mountain, or just like a small hill. Just some equipment, some antennas and stuff in a big bag. That's going up to a cell phone tower. Oh, watch my snow pants there. So yeah, this was an absolutely stunning day, and this is probably my favorite time of year to be at work when the weather is this nice, and it usually isn't. So yeah, you can see the day was just like completely cav-okay, zero wind. It's kind of cold, but it's not that bad when it's not windy. But it is cold. It's like, well, not that cold. It's like -5 degrees maybe Celsius. And yeah, we have yeah, whatever. So this snow is kind of a pain in the ass to walk on because it's like a small thin layer of hard ice and no hard snow, and then soft underneath. But yeah, when the weather's this good, it's hard to complain. So yeah, we're just gonna put all that stuff in a bag and then ready up, and then my colleague's gonna fly it up. Yeah, just got lost in there a little bit.
Kan du si ja? Irriterende førende. Ja, jævlig. Ja.
So yeah, this is all the stuff that goes up, and this is a pretty like typical job for us. Usually we would have the customer, they have bags, so they just ready it for us, and we just come and fly it up. But sometimes we have to pack it ourselves, and to save time, because the workers, they spend maybe, yeah, you'll see where the hill is, but probably like 20-30 minutes to walk up. So we just sent them away, and then we'll do the packing for them. But in case you ever wonder what goes inside the big bags, because I don't think I've ever filmed packing of the big bags. So these are just like, I can't remember the name for it. The steel that goes on the tower to mount the stuff up in the tower. And then some climbing rope bags, and some yeah, I guess those are like mounting steel rods. Yeah, I can't get over how absolutely beautiful this day was. Snow like this, it's also, it's not that hard to land on. And I did the video of snow landings, and this is like the best type of snow to land on, where it's just it's really hard, so it doesn't really kick up that much, or the downwash doesn't really kick it up that badly when you come into land. So it's pretty easy to maintain visual reference outside, because you have all the shadows in the snow. But if it's overcast, you can't really see those shadows, and it becomes a lot harder to land on the snow without any visual reference. And if you haven't seen the video, I think it's called like Snow Landing Tutorial or something. where I talk a little bit about whiteouts and difficulties and hazards of landing on snow. Usually it's no problem as long as you use the proper technique and go in at a shallow angle. And then you don't, if you go too vertical, if you go straight down, it's
Oh, right.
you spend too much time in a hover going straight down, and it's really easy to lose your reference. But just look at this weather, man. It's absolutely gorgeous.
Jeg kaller den bildet, tror jeg.
So we're gonna put the line out. I think we went for 36 meters. So that's 15. And then another 15, and then 6 at the end.
Din? Ja.
About here.
Oh, yeah.
I can't really hear the audio, so. And I've also talked before about like the advantages and disadvantages of having steel wire cables or steel ropes to fly with the sling. The main advantage of it is that it's a lot easier to fly with because it doesn't really get that much affected by wind. So you can fly in a lot higher winds and the cable will still hang straight down. If you have fiber lines, it's going to be a lot more affected by the wind because of the drag or rather the weight is a lot lower. So that it might get out of center in wind more easily. So unless you have weight on it, it's kind of hard to, or not hard, but it's more of a challenge rather to find what your reference for straight down is, which I've also talked about before is like one of the hardest things about flying sling load is just knowing what straight down is. Yeah, once you like unpacking it, it's really fast, and packing it in again or repacking it usually takes a little bit more time. And it does, like usually it's a lot easier with the fiber lines. Just like bunch them up real quick in the helicopter. It takes about like a third of the time, so that you spend less time on the ground with engines running. And like 36 meters is also very heavy, so you can't really just bunch that up and lift it in without problems. I hurt my back a month ago or something, lifting, I think it was 42 meters at once. And I don't know how much it is, but it's like probably like 40 kilos.
Jeg har ikke regnet på det, men Linje sa hun var innenfor. Og hun tog han før meg.
Oh, we're talking about the Omicron vaccine. Or the COVID vaccine.
Stemmer. France? Nei, Geneva. Eller Geneve. Heter det vel.
So yeah, I've made a few of these videos now, and I think I'm gonna continue to make more just to get like a good, like what do you call it, like a good bank of footage to use for videos on ground stuff. Because a lot of people have been requesting them, and a lot of people are interested in on what goes on the ground and what it's like to be on the ground. Usually I just film the flying part, so before you write any questions about me posting some flying videos, just know that I've made a few by now. Attach the line here. That's a minor detail that's negative about these new electrical wires that we have. The contacts, or the, what do you call it? Like the contacts are quite large. So if you have like hard surface like this with snow, you can just punch through it and make room for it. But if you have a hard surface underneath, like tufts of grass or something, it can get a little challenging to get the electrical wire into the belly of the helicopter. That's a minor point though.
Var de klar på toppen där eller?
It's yeah, overall, and it's also a lot cheaper. It's about, I think it's like a quarter of the price of fiber, and also I think they last longer. I'm not sure about if they last longer or not, but and obviously they're way stronger, and they're not prone to cuts and stuff, so you can be a lot rougher with them, and they can handle a lot rougher treatments without breaking. Just testing the radio a little bit. I think he's about ready to jump in and fly, and then I'm gonna be Loadmaster. Just admiring myself in the glass there. This coffee. The easiest thing to do if the packet, like landing on stuff like this, if the stuff you're flying is heavy enough, if you know it's heavy enough, you can land right next to it and use that as a reference. But like you saw when we packed it, there was a lot of very light boxes and stuff, so most likely if we did use that technique, it would have gotten blown away by the downwash when we came in. So here we are, I'm contemplating just using the ropes and just taking one through. That's gonna be it's gonna be hard. It's gonna, because of the steel ropes there, or the steel, it's not steel ropes, but the steel tube sticking up, that's gonna hit the hook and might interfere with the quick release mechanism. I didn't really think of that, so go back for a sling. And you're not supposed to use I can't really remember what it says, but I think you're not supposed to use more than 3 different what do you call it, like loops inside the cargo hook. I don't know why. I can't really remember why, but I've definitely heard you're not supposed to use more than 3. So it's better to just use the sling. That way you have 2 attachment points, and it's easier for the guys up top as well. So we just take the green sling through all the 4 hoops, and then also through that step ladder, or mini ladder or whatever you call it. It's firing up, and I almost take it through there, but you see that top part is plastic with bolts, so it would almost guaranteed hold, but it's better to take it through the aluminum. A little bit safer. These run-up checks, and then we'll be off. Yeah, that's a thumbnail for sure. Like, taking off is also as problematic as landing on snow in whiteout conditions. But you have to do it. You have to do the first part smoothly so that you can get your skids clear of the snow, especially if it's been standing for a long time. Because with like this. Not like today because it's too cold, but if it's like 0 degrees or maybe 1 degree and snowy, and the helicopter will be standing for maybe an hour or two. Look at that. And the sun is on. The sun is on, and the sun is heating up the snow, and the helicopter starts sinking further and further down. So you might get a little bit, not stuck per se, but it can sink a little bit further down. Hurts my face with the snow. Should have brought a face shield. And then if you go to lift off and don't expect any resistance, basically you can have a dynamic rollover. It's never happened, and I have not heard of anybody that's had an actual dynamic rollover due to that. You can see the tower that we're going up to on that hill. But yeah, just be sure. And it's also, especially if it's left overnight as well, because if it sinks down during the day, it can freeze during the night. And freeze to the ground. So just like walk around the skids and make sure that the snow and ice let go of the skid, and be very careful when lifting. And then that's like the main part when you want to lift off from light snow or in whiteout conditions. You have to do the first part really slowly, and then it really helps to have a reference. And if you don't have any like tufts or branches or like trees that stick out of the ground that you can use as a reference, it can usually help just to dig a hole right next to where you would want the reference to be, just to give you enough of a reference just to get the skids out of the snow, and then you can feel that you're airborne, and then you can go pretty quickly straight up and be out of the whiteouts in a very short amount of time, basically. So that's a little tip for snowy operations or snow landing operations. And usually it's not a problem, but the biggest problem or the biggest hazard is usually when it's been a whole season where you have no snow landings, and then snow comes really quickly, and then you have to do it for the first time in maybe a year. That's usually when I feel at least, when the biggest hazard is, or when the biggest danger of whiteout and like the complications that go with snow landings are. That was a well put together sentence there. That is delivered. Gears coming down. Going down blind to the left towards the spot. I'm not gonna tell him how to fly. He's been flying for a lot longer than I am. I would have gone out straight towards where you can see now and then came out in a right turn. Just to make it a little bit easier. And also the skid tracks that you leave in this type of snow is really helpful because right underneath the helicopter you can't really see the downwash or the snow that's caked up. So right underneath the helicopter and in the mirror, you have pretty good reference. It's when you start looking straight ahead and you start looking out to the sides, that's when the problem of whiteout is. You want to be looking straight down to the right, or a combination of down to the right and the mirror. And if there was very thick snow and light snow, I would not do this and walk out. I would just stand right next to the front of where the pilot is landing, and I would be the reference for him. He would use me as a reference. Straight into the skid tracks again, and then that's it. Now usually this is a part where fiber lines are really nice to have. Now we're shutting down because we have to wait a few hours. But usually now, if we were just doing this hot and just throwing the line back in, it's a lot easier with the fiber line to coil it up and get it in the helicopter, and it's not as hard for your back. I feel like I talk a lot about back pain and neck pain. It's a real thing, you know. It's definitely a hazard. Because if you're low on time and you're trying to do everything as quickly as possible, you can sometimes forget yourself and just yank really hard and not really remember that you have to lift carefully and correctly. I feel like now I talk about back pain like I'm an old man, but it's if you do it over and over and over again, you're gonna have develop problems. And you can definitely feel it in the neck if you fly sling load a lot. You can definitely feel it in the neck, and you can develop problems later on. I don't feel anything right now, but I'm definitely aware of it. Try to be as aware of it as possible. So that I don't develop problems later on, like when I'm old and 45 years old, you know? Also, the coiling here, it requires a special technique. I don't know what it's called. I know if you do it, I saw a metallic documentary once, and they called it the roadie shuffle if you do it with wires, or electrical wires. It's just basically a way to coil the rope so that if you let it go, it just unfolds itself. Without causing any snags or twists in the line. You go one over and then one under. One over, one under. Whew. Over and under, and then you just keep doing that. If you try to just do over, you can't do it, basically. because the tension in the steel rope is or the steel wire is so high. That's another super interesting fact. Seems like doing these videos I just talk about super interesting stuff all the time. You can probably cut that time down to like a third if you're doing it with a whatchamacallit, the fiber lines.
It is.
And they're greasy, so you have to keep them in bags. That's also a big thing. And you have to use gloves. So yeah, that's basically the whole mission crammed into one little video. It's about 20 minutes. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this one as well. I think I have one more maybe. And then I'm going to try to be getting back to some of the flying videos. I made a bunch of projects, but I never just kind of lost motivation and stopped making them. So yeah, basically that's the end of this video. I'm just gonna put all the stuff back, and then gotta wait a little bit, and then we're ready for the next one. So I hope you guys like this little insight of what it's like to be a loadmaster. Just so you know, it's not always this. The weather's not always this good. But yeah, definitely enjoy these days. So I hope you enjoyed the video as well, and I will catch you in the next one.
So